Hey, I'm Becca with the Happy Ever Crafter, and when I got started with calligraphy and lettering about 5 years ago, there was not the same amount of information online as there is now. I did a lot of piecing together information on my own, and because I took all that time to do that, I now want to share my 5 things I wish I knew when I started so that someone like you, who might be a beginner, can skip all those steps that I did. First thing I wish I knew is that I didn't need to buy a ton of expensive supplies. Oh my god, the money I spent on supplies I did not need, outrageous. Actually, let's be honest, I haven't changed that fact. I have a total addiction to the art store and I can't go in there without spending way too much money, as you can probably tell by all the beautiful supplies behind me. But I just want to make it clear, I did not need to buy those expensive tools up front. Actually, I still didn't need to buy them at all. I have a lot of tools that I never used. But I actually just really want to encourage people that you can start with a pencil. I have a video on that. It's actually my most popular video ever. You can start with a Sharpie. I have a video on that one too. You can start with Crayola markers that you steal from your kids. I got videos on all of those things. You don't have to go buy anything expensive if you're just getting started. I know it's tempting. You think that you're gonna buy good supplies and then it'll make you a little bit better right off the bat or give you an edge over other people who aren't, buying the expensive stuff, but it really doesn't come down to that. It's all about the technique in calligraphy. However, if I haven't convinced you and you do feel like you wanna buy some expensive tools, not expensive, but not cheap tools, I do have a 50-page supplies guide where I give you all my recommendations, so I'm just gonna throw that in there. Okay, thing number 2 that I wish I knew was that my already good handwriting would not matter when I learned calligraphy. I remember thinking that because I always had pretty good handwriting, like I was that girl in school who would practice her alphabet over and over and over again and have a different handwriting style every week because I would see the girl next to me do her A a certain way and I would like that A, so then I would incorporate it into my alphabet and I was constantly changing it. I feel like some of you can relate to that. But because I had some pretty good handwriting right off the bat, I just assumed that I would pick up calligraphy and, I'd be way better than everyone else right off the bat. It's kind of embarrassing to admit, but that's how I felt. Turns out your handwriting has absolutely nothing to do with calligraphy. Shocker. And to me, that was like an annoying thing, but to a lot of the students that I teach now, it's actually a relief because a lot of people are like, oh no, I don't think I can do calligraphy because my handwriting sucks. Not true. You can totally do it. Handwriting and calligraphy are completely separate, which brings me to my next point. I wish I had known to not skip past the basics. This is another thing, I just thought having nice handwriting would mean that I could start, 10 steps ahead of other people, but everyone has to start with the basics. And I spent a lot of time just trying to use a fancy brush pen, applying it to my nice handwriting and hoping that I would magically be a calligrapher. Turns out that's sort of the fast track to failure. Calligraphy and handwriting are different, which we already established. And because of that, calligraphy has very specific basic strokes that you need to learn at the beginning in order to build up your alphabet. They just look like weird squiggly pieces that you learn to do with your pen, but when you put them all together, they build up your alphabet. So if you skip those steps, you actually just don't know how to build letters. And if you default back to just putting pretty pressures with a brush pen on your cursive writing, which is what I did, you're gonna fail. I spent a lot of time just looking at other calligraphers' work and trying to copy it by eye, which I could do pretty well, but there was always something a little bit off. And when I realized that this was the missing piece, I was kind of like, oh my god, I wasted so much time. So anyway, I have a whole video about this. I'll link to it just because that could literally be a whole 2-hour long video, and I love talking about basic strokes, but I'll spare you and keep going with point number 4. Point number 4 is that I wish I knew I wouldn't be good right away. I think I've already explained, the embarrassing fact that I thought I was gonna be a rock star right off the bat. I remember signing up for a calligraphy course, an in-person workshop, and on my way there thinking I'm gonna rock this, I'm gonna be so good, I'm gonna have this 3-hour intensive session, and then at the end of it, I'm gonna walk out and I'm gonna be a calligrapher. Not the case. Turns out I was still pretty terrible after that first workshop. I was absolutely in love with calligraphy, don't get me wrong, I was really excited to practice, but I was still pretty terrible. And it took a good 2 or 3 months of me sitting down after dinner every single night for like 1 or 2 hours, just practicing the basics over and over and over again before I started to get decent, or at least what I considered decent, because now if I go back and look at the pictures when I thought I was good, I still had a lot of learning to do. So anyway, all that to say, I wish I had known how much of a commitment it was gonna be and how much I would need to practice before I'd be able to feel comfortable making the Christmas cards or making the birthday cards that I thought I was gonna be able to make right off the bat. Oh, and as a 4.5 sort of, I will say that I wish I had known to date all of my practice sheets. So just put a little date on every single one of them, because a couple years later I wanted to go back and kind of see like my 1 year or 2 year progress, and I can't really compare the actual dates. So just a bonus tip, 4.5, date all of your practice. You won't regret it later. And point number 5, I wish I had known how awesome it would be to have a community of like-minded people that I could work alongside. I have an amazing support group now. We've got a group here in Ottawa that we all kind of chat and stuff, but also online. And when I started, that didn't really exist. Calligraphy was fairly new on Instagram, and this was a biggie for me. I really enjoy group settings. I like in every aspect of my life, playing on teams and stuff like that. And specifically for learning, I've just found it's really helpful to have like a group of other people who are doing the same kind of thing to hold you accountable and to ask questions to and to share your work and all that kind of stuff. It's just so great when you find someone who's doing the same thing and who can talk and understand what you're saying. So for me at the time when I started, I just started kind of reaching out to people on Instagram who seemed to be sharing similar work to what I was and making friends that way, slowly but surely. Nowadays, if you join Instagram and you start following people, you'll go kind of down the rabbit hole and find other people to follow and gradually make your own sort of community that you can chat and talk to people in the DMs and in the comments and stuff like that, which I highly recommend. But another thing is I just strongly recommend that you come and join my Facebook community. It's called the Happy Ever Crafters on Facebook, and I just intentionally made a space where people can share their work, follow each other, connect, meet other people like them, and we've even done real life meetups before, kind of all around the world, which is mind-blowing. But it's just such a great way to jump into the community, and really, it's just such a welcoming place. It's just I don't think I've ever been part of an online community that's quite so friendly. So anyway, you're welcome to join that. It was a game changer for me when I found my own community. And as a bonus, tip number 6 for me would just be to find one teacher or one course that you can commit to following from start to finish, just to get you started. Because at the beginning, it's really tempting to buy this course, buy that workbook, buy this online training, buy that workshop and all these things. But it kind of gets overwhelming if you have people telling you different pieces of information. And so if you can find somebody that you connect with, that you like, and that offers the beginner basics, you should follow it from start to finish. And that's where the shameless plug comes in, because I have a free course, teaches you from the very ground up, and I would love to have you. So I'll link to it down below and you can come and join us. I hope this video was helpful and it helps you skip some of the troubles that I had in the very beginning. And if you liked it, hit the subscribe button, because I put out 2 new videos like this every single week, and I'll see you in the next one.